One day, Hazrat Musa set out towards Mount Tur with the intention of meeting Allah. On top of Mount Tur, Allah, the Lord of all the worlds, began speaking to Musa through a divine voice. Hazrat Musa said, "O Allah, I wish to know who will be with me in Jannah." Allah, the Lord of all the worlds, replied, "O Musa, there is a butcher among the Bani Israel who will be with you in Jannah. He will enter Jannah with you." Hazrat Musa said, "O Allah, you have made me a prophet. It is expected that I will be with prophets, messengers, righteous and devout people in Jannah, but why a butcher?" Hazrat Musa continued, "O Allah, please tell me where I can find this butcher so I can see what kind of deeds he does that will earn him a place in Jannah with me." Allah, the Lord of all the worlds, responded, "O Musa, return home now. After a few days, I will call you and tell you where to find the butcher." Hazrat Musa heard these words and returned home. Some days passed by. One day, Hazrat Musa set out on a journey again. As he was walking along the road, he saw a woman standing there, crying. The woman approached Hazrat Musa and said, "O Prophet of Allah, are you going to Mount Tur to speak with Allah? If you are, please ask Allah about my situation. Why has Allah not granted me any children? I have been married for many years, yet I still have not become a mother. Is it that I will never have children? Or is it because of something I have done wrong that Allah has not blessed me with children?" Hazrat Musa replied, "Okay, I will ask Allah, the Lord of all the worlds, about your situation." The woman then left. After hearing her question, Hazrat Musa was surprised, so he decided not to travel anywhere else. He set out towards Mount Tur again to speak with Allah. When he reached the mountain, Hazrat Musa asked Allah, "O Allah, on my way back I saw a woman crying. She asked me, 'I have been married for many years, yet I have not had any children.' Then the Almighty Allah, the Lord of all the worlds, answered Hazrat Musa's question through a divine voice, saying, 'O Musa, tell the woman that it is not written in her destiny to have children, which is why she has not been able to become a mother after all these years. A daughter or son is given by Allah alone. Whoever Allah grants, they receive it.'" After hearing this, Hazrat Musa set out towards home. On his way back, he remembered the woman and decided not to go home directly, but to visit the woman's house. When the woman saw Hazrat Musa, she was startled and said, "O Prophet of Allah, Musa, have you come with the answer to my question from Allah?" Hazrat Musa replied, "The Almighty Allah has said that it is not written in your destiny to have children, and thus you will never become a mother." Upon hearing this, the woman's eyes filled with tears, and she began crying loudly. Hazrat Musa then left the house. A few days later, a pious and devout fakir visited the woman's house. When he arrived, he asked, "Is there anyone at home? I am a devout fakir, and I have not eaten for a long time. I am very hungry, so please, for the sake of Allah, give me something to eat. Certainly, Allah the Almighty will fulfill your wishes." Upon hearing this, the woman invited the fakir inside and gave him 4 pieces of bread to eat. Then the woman said, "You are a devout servant of Allah. Please pray to Allah for me, that he grants me children, as I have not been blessed with any." After eating the bread, the fakir prayed to Allah, saying, "O Allah, please grant this woman children." After making the prayer, he left the house. Years passed, and one day, Hazrat Musa was traveling again. As he passed near the woman's house, he remembered her. Hazrat Musa went to her house and saw the woman playing happily with a small child. When the woman saw Hazrat Musa, she came outside and said, "O Prophet of Allah, Musa, you had told me that Allah would never grant me children and that there was no child destined for me, but Allah has given me a child." Upon hearing this, Hazrat Musa was a bit surprised. To get an answer to this question, Hazrat Musa set off towards the Mount of Tur. Upon reaching the mountain, Hazrat Musa asked, "O Almighty Allah, the Lord of all the worlds, you had said that it was not written in the woman's destiny to have children, that she would not have any children. But today as I passed by, I saw the woman playing with a child, rejoicing and very happy with her child. O Allah, the Lord of all the worlds, I do not understand this matter." Then the Almighty Allah, the Lord of all the worlds, answered through a divine voice, "O Musa, if you wish to know the answer to this question, bring a plate with human flesh, and you will have your answer." After receiving this command from Allah, Hazrat Musa went to the people with a plate and a knife. He said, "O my people, Allah, the Almighty, has commanded that I bring human flesh. Is there anyone among you willing to offer their flesh for this plate?" However, no one agreed to give their flesh. Everyone turned away and left. Hazrat Musa was deeply troubled and anxious, wandering around in confusion. When he could not find any human flesh, he was on his way home when suddenly an elderly fakir called out to him from behind. O Prophet of Allah, Musa, what is troubling you? Why do you seem so anxious and distressed? Hazrat Musa approached the fakir and explained, Allah the Almighty has commanded me to bring human flesh, but no one is willing to give their flesh. Everyone turned away and left. Upon hearing this, the elderly fakir took the knife from Hazrat Musa, cut a small piece of his own flesh, and handed it to Hazrat Musa's. Hazrat Musa's was astonished. After receiving the flesh, Hazrat Musa's went back to the Mount of Tur. When he reached there, he spoke to Allah, O Allah, I have brought the human flesh. But when I asked people, everyone turned away. Only one elderly fakir, upon hearing your name, immediately cut a piece of his own flesh and gave it to me. At that moment, the Almighty Allah spoke to Hazrat Musa through a divine voice, saying, O Musa, there was no need for you to go to all the people. You yourself were enough. Through this act, you have received your answer. The reason I granted that woman a child was because of the prayer of that elderly fakir. As soon as he heard my name, he gave a part of his own flesh, and because of his prayer, I granted the woman a child. O Musa, the one who gives everything in the path of Allah, who dedicates everything to Allah, Allah will give him everything in return. Allah will even change his fate and destiny, all because of his prayers. Upon hearing this response from Allah, Hazrat Musa returned home. After some time had passed, Hazrat Musa remembered the statement of Allah that the butcher would be his companion in Jannah. He wanted to know the reason for this and set out once again towards Mount Tur to find the answer. When Hazrat Musa arrived at Mount Tur, he asked, O Allah the Almighty, you said that the butcher will be my companion in Jannah. I would like to know what actions he performs that earned him this place alongside me in Jannah. Then Allah the Almighty answered Hazrat Musa through a divine voice, and he provided the location of the butcher. The next day, Hazrat Musa passed through a path and arrived at the butcher's house. After some time, he saw that the butcher was heading home with some meat, so Hazrat Musa followed him. Eventually, Hazrat Musa reached the butcher's house and stood at a distance, observing. However, on that day, he decided to leave without approaching the house. The following day, Hazrat Musa went back to the butcher's house, knocked and called, Is anyone home? But there was no answer from inside. Hazrat Musa then thought that perhaps no one was at home, so he left and went straight to the butcher's shop. From a distance, Hazrat Musa noticed that when the butcher was cutting meat and placing a good piece of meat next to him, a customer approached and said, Brother, give me the piece of meat that is next to you, and I will pay you extra for it. The butcher replied, No matter how much extra you offer, I won't give you that piece of meat. He then added, I will take this home with me, was puzzled by this response. He wondered why the butcher would refuse to give the meat, even when offered more money in exchange. After the customer left with the meat, the butcher packed the piece of meat in a bag and set off for home. Hazrat Musa decided to follow him. When the butcher reached his home, Hazrat Musa called from outside, Is anyone home? I am a traveler, and I need shelter for the night. The butcher came outside and asked, Who are you? I don't recognize you. Hazrat Musa replied, I am a traveler. Can you offer me shelter for the night? I will leave tomorrow morning. The butcher agreed. Of course, come inside. The butcher invited him in and said, Please sit here while I attend to a little work in the other room. Hazrat Musa observed that the butcher went into the other room where he was making bread and cooking the meat. After a little while, Hazrat Musa's aide saw the butcher gently bringing an elderly woman from a corner of the room, showing her the utmost respect and care, as one would show to a small child, feeding her the meat and bread with great love and tenderness. After some time, the butcher came to Hazrat Musa and offered him some food, saying, O traveler, here is your meal. I apologize for the delay. I had some work to do, which is why I couldn't offer it to you sooner. Hazrat Musa then asked, Okay, you tell me, who is this elderly woman? The butcher replied, This is my mother. I have no one in this world except my mother, and she has no one but me. My mother has become old, and she cannot move around well or even eat properly. So every day I bring her the softest and best pieces of meat from my shop, and when I come home, I cook for her and feed her. After hearing this, Hazrat Musa was deeply moved by the butcher's devotion and love for his mother. He was astonished by the respect and care the butcher showed her. As Hazrat Musa looked from the other room, he noticed the elderly woman began to cry, tears flowing down her face. She raised her hands to the heavens and began praying, saying, O Allah, you are the most merciful, the most compassionate, the all-forgiving. You know everything. There is nothing in this world that you do not know. I am happy with my son, the butcher, and in his service. O Allah, I have prayed for my son. Please grant him to be with the greatest of prophets, Hazrat Musa S. in Jannah. After hearing her prayer, Hazrat Musa left the house without going inside and headed towards the Mount of Tur. Upon reaching the mount, Hazrat Musa called out, O Allah, I went to the butcher's house and I saw that the butcher has shown nothing but devotion to his mother. He has done nothing extraordinary in his actions except this devotion. What is the reason he will be with me in Jannah? Then a voice came from the unseen, and Allah, the Lord of the worlds, responded, O Musa, know that it is because of the butcher's devotion to his mother that he will be with you in Jannah. His mother prayed with tears in her eyes, raising her hands, asking for her son to be with you in Jannah. Allah never rejects a mother's prayer. The true act of worship of the butcher is his unwavering devotion and service to his mother, which is why he will join you in Jannah. If you like the story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This is a beautiful lesson in the importance of honoring and caring for one's parents, especially mothers.